I'm Telok.
I'm Ghoul.
And this is Necrobutcher from Mayhem, and you're watching Heavy Consequence.
Hello, welcome. I'm John Adusik with Heavy Consequence, and I'm here with Mayhem. I got Necrobutcher, Ghoul, and Telok, the pioneering black metal band from Norway. The band's got a new album, Daemon, on Century Media. The sixth album from the band. Sixth studio album, I should say. How is this album different from the previous Mayhem albums and the most recent one, Esoteric Warfare?
First of all, it's let's begin with the counting of the albums. Back in '87, when we released Death Crush, we didn't think it was such a big deal if it was a mini album or an album. I know now it's a big fucking deal. With the Wolfslayer Abyss thing too, we just went to studio. We didn't care that we only had 5 songs. Fuck it. Didn't think it was a big deal, but now we all get it in the face like, you have 6 records out in 35 years. Well, it's actually more like 8. 2 of them is called mini albums. So, the reason why I'm resting a little bit on that is like every album we release is completely different because it's it takes years in between every album and we are in different places. Sometimes we actually have different people in the band too because some people disappeared on the way. Death Crush is more punky, hardcore, death metalish, and then Mysteriis is an accident. Art by accident, actually, in my opinion, because the people who mixed it had no fucking clue about anything. So it was just, and then Hellhammer was ending up last man standing in the studio, of course, and the whole album sounds like a drum solo. And then and then Wolfslayer Abyss '97. And then again, took a couple of years until we got the Crown Recreation of War out. So every time we release an album, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in between. So they all sound very different because we are different places in the world is different, and we changed some songwriters throughout the 35 years. So that's basically mounting up to where we are now with the Daemon. And I'm just a humble bass player these days, and I'm happy about that. Leave the talk to Ghoul and Telok about the new album as they wrote it. I was lucky enough to write one lyric because it's not a concept album this time. So I came in with some real feelings in your face, so bad that it can't even be talked about before we split this band up.
What was your question again?
How's the album different from the last ones you've worked on? And I know Ghoul contributed some songwriting to this one as well.
Yeah, this one is simplified compared to the previous album. Esoteric Warfare was very much experimental, and this one is back to the roots in a bit, where we had the idea of simplify everything all the time. So that was the outcome of that.
Yeah, we kind of stripped everything back and then built from there. So it's not actually originally we were talking about going really simple, remember?
Yeah.
But then we just couldn't do it because it sounded too forced. It just sounded like we were trying to sound like Death Crush or something. So
and it was also very boring for us.
Also extremely boring. Yeah, it's not irrelevant. It didn't feel right. But that was where we started from. Stripped everything right back, and then it sort of naturally built on top. So it was very organic how it came together in many ways. I think that's also a very big difference, and also the fact that we were actually sharing ideas and talking to each other, and rather than just working in separate boxes.
No, was it a more collaborative album than creatively in the studio as well as the writing process?
Yeah, and we actually rehearsed everything, tested everything out, tried ideas. Trying to get away from this bad habit that bands have nowadays to write everything at home on a computer,
So there was like live recording, like you played live to sort of find some of your ideas, or
not really. It's still the fact is that we live in 3 different countries also. So it's easier for the logistic side of it that we just did different studios. So we actually different studios this time. But when you say this thing about the live feeling. When I was tracking this album, I actually felt, and listening back to it, like it felt live. Like, wow, it's more live. Felt more live than any of the other productions we did the last 15 years. Which is strange when you know it's not live. It's not live in the studio. But it really sounds like that. And I don't know why, but it's... I think it's, for me, personally, as a bass player, I think it's something to do with Hellhammer. That on this record, it was just a pleasure. I just felt like everything was so easy. And I think maybe he simplified a little bit. As I wanted him to do many years, not to overthink and overproduce and overdo everything all the time. Because he's a great drummer and can do that. I just wanted him to, keep the rhythm. Basically be a drummer back, And then I think that's what happened this time. And I was enjoyed the studio work for the first time in years and years and years. So it feels live. It feels live when you listen back to the album.